The old knucklehead and the merc with the mouth are back on the job once again, but this time they brought their daughters. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Wolverines and Deadpools issue number 1. The start of a brand new series courtesy of Cody Ziegler, and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, as the book opens up, we're in Simkara, a country of course famous for being the original home of Silver Sable and being a nation that just so happens to border Latveria. We focus in on a small rural village that has been besieged by horrifying shadow monsters that come in the night and drag off children. We meet two parents who heroically try to board up their house and defend their son Julian, only to fall. In heated battle, their son becoming the Shadow's newest victim. The next morning, we actually check on in with Wolverine, Logan, and Wolverine Laura as they investigate the crime scene. Whatever happened here was very serious and very dark, and they get the feeling that if they're going to get to the bottom of any of this, they're going to need a little help. And luckily, the two Wolverines just so happen to know the name of a pretty good up-and-coming mercenary company. From there, we transition on over to Ellie, Wade's daughter. She is having yet another horrifying recurring nightmare, wherein a ghostly version of her deceased mother berates her. This was actually a big thing over in Ziegler's Deadpool book, and it's a storyline I'm glad they haven't dropped because it didn't really have any resolution after 15 issues, especially when we stop and consider whatever this otherworldly entity is, it's part of the big reason that Wade's healing factor isn't as good as it used to be. Another hanging plot thread I'm really glad to see Ziegler address is actually Agent Preston and her family. You'll remember that they actually raised Ellie from a young age. And yet in that last series, she just kind of ran off and abandoned them to go live with Wade. They're still on very good terms. And we can see Ellie actually splits her time between the two families in a very healthy way. There's also an excellent joke in here too, with Deadpool sending a text message saying that he hasn't seen Agent Preston since the Duggan run, which is very true and very funny. After breakfast, Ellie catches a portal to Deadpool and Daughter's Mercenary LLC headquarters in Montreal. It's here we're reintroduced to the supporting cast from that Ziegler Deadpool book. Symbiote wolf sister Princess, adopted Uncle Taskmaster, who's actually comfortable enough to take his costume off, office manager Doug, who actually got his start in the Beyond saga of Spider-Man, if you can believe it, and even the water cooler rats, a minor joke from the last arc of Deadpool that comes back here. Well, you know, in a lot of ways, this really is just Cody Ziegler's Deadpool issue number 16, isn't it? I get the feeling a lot of people probably picked this book up looking for a fresh start, and that they might very well be confused for a lot of the backstory and context, but hey, if that's the case, aren't you glad I'm here to help you out? Now, as we learn from Ellie, she's actually been quite the good influence on her father and his business. Deadpool has gone out of his way now to try and take more morally upstanding jobs, well, morally upstanding for a mercenary. And that, of course, includes taking a job that will see him team up with the two Wolverines. Deadpool is, of course, overjoyed because he is still under the assumption that Wolverine is his bestest friend ever. Wade's also absolutely over the moon, too, at the idea that his daughter will have her own Wolverine-centric crossover because, you know, those have always been excellent for business. You know, both the movie business and the comic business and the mercenary business. What's funny is that Laura and Ellie actually don't hit it off at first. Laura says that Ellie is pretty damn grumpy for a Deadpool, and Ellie says that Laura is pretty damn talkative for a Wolverine. Laura's also kind of annoyed at just how quickly Ellie managed to pick up the Simkaran language. Again, her powers aren't just healing factor based, she also has a mind very similar to Taskmaster, allowing her to pick up skills very quickly. Now, in short order, we learned that this rural village isn't just any regular village, it was actually established as a safe haven for young mutants. Meaning that all those children who got grabbed weren't just regular kids, they were actually mutants themselves, some with some very interesting powers, conjuration, dark force manipulation, the sort of stuff that if they fell into the wrong hands, they might be very dangerous. The fathers decide now is a good idea to split up to cover more ground. Ellie and Laura will stay behind to sweep the city for clues, while Logan and Wade see if they can pick up any trails in the deep woods. This actually probably leads to the big character heart of the story, and that is Wade, once he's alone with Wolverine, asks him if he has any insight on what it means to be a good father. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Wolverine has been around for a long time, raised a lot of kids and a lot of adopted kids. So in this situation, he is kind of the expert. If anything, Logan's actually taken aback that after all these years, Deadpool can still actually surprise him, and wanting to be a good parent is certainly up there. Wolverine has some pretty good advice to offer too, saying that being a parent is probably the scariest thing he's ever done, that he always lives with a gnawing in the back of his mind that he's messing his kids heads up. Or worse still, that his kids are just every bit as stubborn as he is. He also says that he doesn't fear Deadpool becoming a good father because, well, he's already shown that he has a good heart plenty of times. In fact, they even kind of mention Wade adopting Kid Apocalypse all the way back in X-Force, which I'm shocked it took them this long to actually give that guy a mention. Now, Deadpool and Wolverine aren't out in the woods for long before they end up getting jumped by Agent X. Ooh, what a fun Deadpool. Agent X is actually a Gail Simone creation. This dude was kind of set up as like a Deadpool impersonator back in the day. He actually had a pretty serious push and even a mini-series unto his own before disappearing into the ether. Agent X isn't the mastermind behind the kidnappings, but he says that he is working for the true power in charge. It also quickly becomes apparent that this is really a smokescreen and that it's the daughters who are the real targets here, as back in the city, both Laura and Ellie end up getting jumped by Lady Bullseye, whose target is ultimately revealed to be none other than Ellie. In fact, it goes a little bit deeper as we learn that whatever horrifying nightmares she's been dealing with are, get this, also tied to the missing children. Lady Bullseye mops the floor with Ellie, saying that Taskmaster's training can only take her so far. She can play the notes of Daredevil, but Lady Bullseye has fought the real thing and knows what the notes actually mean. The fight quickly goes off the rails as Ellie once again ends up seeing a horrifying ghost of her mother. Thankfully, Laura is there to quite literally knock her out of it. This proves to be enough to force the villains to end up making a retreat, not on their own, but through the help of some other shadow magic. They report to the big boss, the one who hired them, their king, and if all the illusions weren't already a dead giveaway, the boss turns out to be none other than the Shadow King, longtime X-Men foe. It would seem that he's looking for a new physical vessel on this plane of existence, and he's already chosen Ellie as his host. And believe it or not, it's on that note right there the comic comes to a close, everybody, and so that was Wolverines and Deadpools issue number 1, and right off the bat, I do not like saying that title. It does not roll off the tongue. Thankfully, though, I like the rest of the book a lot. Cody Ziegler did some really amazing work over on that last Deadpool series, and I feel like they canceled it maybe a little too quickly in order to rebrand it into this series just when it felt like he was starting to really cook. But thankfully, as I mentioned previously, this brand new story, despite being a brand new number 1, basically is just a straight up continuation on from Deadpool 15. One that actually buckles down and starts answering questions that were left hanging from that last Deadpool series, mainly who was it that Ellie was talking to in her dream, would we ever see the Prestons again, etc, etc. I don't think Ziegler really gets enough credit for finding a heart in all of his stories, and this one is plain as day. Will Deadpool be a good father, and will Wolverine be able to help him along the way? Again, it's all pretty perfect and basically ends up writing itself. I also appreciate that Ellie doesn't get along with Laura on their first meeting. Come to think of it, she didn't get along with Spider-Man either. I guess we can say that is a nice consistent thing about her character. She can be a little abrasive and a little quick to putting her guard up when she meets new people. Shadow King actually does end up feeling like a nice big threat that actually deserves having 2 different Deadpools and 2 different Wolverines on the job. Art is good, action is good, yeah, I have very little to complain about in this one, which is why I would give it a very positive 8 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.